Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Today is going to be a foundation review. I've been doing a number of these lately, one per week for the last couple of weeks or so. And today we're going to be talking about a new release foundation. That is the Sephora Make No Mistakes Foundation and Concealer Stick from the Sephora collection. As part of this video, I'm going to be talking a tiny bit about Sephora. It's Sephora. It's huge. There's so much, so really not very much about it. But I am going to talk about this product. I am then going to show you my first impression day of using this product, where I am putting it on with no primer, just to see how it works on my skin. And then I'm going to be back again at the end of this video to give you my thoughts and review on it. I have been using this for a week now. I've used it every day with different primers, different powders, different ways of trying to make it work, to see the best way it performs, where it excels, and maybe where it has some issues. So let's jump into talking about Sephora. But before I do that, timestamps are down below, so you can skip forward to whatever part you want to watch in this video. Sephora as a company has been around since 1970. It was started in France, and it is currently owned by a sort of umbrella corporation, and I'm gonna have to read this because I never get this right. LVMH, Moet, Hennessy, Louis Vuitton. So it's a luxury prestige brand company, and Sephora is currently underneath that as one of their sub-brands. Sephora has 2,300 stores in 33 countries. In 1999, they launched in the US, and in 2004, I believe it was, they started in Canada, in Toronto. Here in my town of Ottawa, we have at least 2 Sephoras around in the malls around here. They're pretty much all over the place now. There's so much to say about it that too much for me to say here. They also have their Sephora collection, and the Sephora collection you don't hear talked about a lot, but when I do hear it talked about, it's generally pretty good, and it has everything. So the Sephora collection, any type of cosmetic you can think of, they have. They also have brushes, they have tools, they have their Sephora Pro collection, which is geared towards makeup artists, although also sold in store, and they even, I think, have a fragrance. Basically, if Sephora had none of the other brands, they would still have a full makeup collection through the Sephora collection, and I don't necessarily think that it gets the recognition that it deserves. And it also tends to be priced more reasonably than everything else in Sephora. So it's not drugstore prices, but it maybe is a little less than sort of like your Smashbox, your Too Faced, your Hourglass. It's going to be probably the least expensive makeup collection that you could buy in Sephora. That's all I'm going to say about that, because this would just get into too long of a video if we started delving too much into Sephora. Maybe we'll do that in a future video. Let me know if you're interested. You can leave a comment about that down below. But let's start talking about this foundation in particular. This stick foundation is going to set you back $25 Canadian. You do get, let me squint at this here, 11.6 grams of product in this. There are 17 shades of this available, so it does have a fairly good shade range. I did have a easy time matching this, and you can go into store to match. They always have the Sephora collection there, so that it should be an easy shade match to go in and swatch a few things if you have a Sephora near you. I actually ordered this online, so I was matching my skin tone from the online tool, and it came out pretty well. This is probably the best shade match of the group of foundations that I bought in that order from Sephora. The one that I have here is Birch. It's described as light beige with a neutral undertone. Let's go through the claims of this foundation so that when we evaluate it at the end, we can actually evaluate it against what it says it does. So it claims this is a medium coverage foundation. All skin types it says it's good for, normal, dry, combination, and oily. It does say that the finish on this is matte. So it is a 2-in-1 multitasker that can be used as both foundation and concealer. Creamy formula does not settle into fine lines and wrinkles, and the stick format is perfect for easy on-the-go application. They say to apply directly to your skin and then blend it out with your fingers, a brush, or a sponge, so any application method that you like, it should be good for. It does have cranberry and pomegranate seed oils in here, which is supposed to soothe the skin for optimal makeup application. That is everything I have to say about the product, I believe. So let's take a quick look at some swatches of this against other foundations in my collection so you can get a good idea of the tone of Birch. Here is the Sephora collection Make No Mistakes Stick Foundation in Birch. This is the Milk Makeup Blur Liquid in Ivory. This is the Ordinary Serum Foundation in 1.1N. This is L'Oreal True Match in C2 and L'Oreal True Match in N2. So there we go. Next we are going to hop on over to the video of my first impression day of this product. So my skin is washed and moisturized. I let the moisturizer sink in for about 10 minutes, but there is no primer on because on these first impression days, I do not use primer just to see how it does on bare skin and if primer is needed. If my hair is looking a little not so nice at the moment, it's because it's day 2 hair, so I tend to spray in a lot of dry shampoo and then let it sit for a little while so to soak in the oil before I actually do my hair. So that's what it is in the process of right now, but that's not what you're here for. You are here for the Make No Mistakes Foundation and Concealer Stick. Here again, we are going to see my possibly inability to match my shade range online. And there is the foundation stick. So half my face with the brush, half my face with a sponge, and let's start out with the brush side. Here we go. Okay, that's not the worst shade match. This is actually a little bit better. Let me zoom you in. That would help, right? It's interesting to see right now. It's like going over my pores. I'm not loving that. This is making me a little worried about how it's going to do in my pores, because the only other foundation stick, I'll link the video down below, that I've tried was the Joe Fresh one, and it did not do good things for my pores. Do a little bit more there. And now we will try to blend. Okay, that blends really nicely. Ooh. On first pass there, I'm pretty impressed with how this is looking. I can see so much dry shampoo in my hair. That's looking pretty nice and skin-like right now, but also like covering a lot. So you can see the difference from one side to the other. Now, let's do the sponge side and blend. This never happens, but I think I prefer the brush side. The sponge side really did not do the same amount of coverage as the brush side. So I'm actually just going to put a touch more on and blend it out with the brush. Maybe it's because it's sort of that stiffer stick formula, but the brush seems to properly move it around and blend it, whereas the Beauty Blender seemed to just sort of try to move it, but not 100% get it. Okay, yeah, I'd say that's about medium coverage. I have a pimple here that you still see coming through a little bit, but everything is sort of smoothed out and blended. I like how I got on half my lips, that's nice. So let me zoom you back out here. It always looks super light when I first put foundation on, partially because I tend to accidentally get lighter shades than I should. This one was actually not too bad of a match. I think it's just the different lighting I have going on to make the room a bit brighter, makes my face look whiter than it actually does in real life. So I'm going to go do my hair, get dressed, put on the rest of my makeup. This is still feeling a little like it doesn't feel powdery yet. So I'm gonna see if it sets a little bit, put on the rest of my makeup, and then come back and let you know how everything went on. So I am loving how this is looking. Let me zoom you in and show you. I just find it is, like, my skin is smooth, it's not emphasizing any pores, it's providing me enough coverage that it's covering, you know, any skin tone things, but it is still letting my freckles come through where I want them to. I am enjoying this so far. I don't know why this is looking so orange here. It's a really gray day outside, so it's so much harder to put on my makeup when I do it in natural light when there isn't a good amount of light coming in. But so far the foundation is looking good, everything applied well on top of it. I powdered a little bit with some e.l.f. powder. I am off to work. Let me zoom out. I'm off to work and I will do check-ins along the way. It is currently, I don't have my phone near me to show you the time, but it's about 8:15 in the morning, and I will see you again soon. Hey guys, it is 1 o'clock and I thought I would do this check-in in natural light, which is why it is so bright. I'm gonna zoom you in to show you my face and give you some of my thoughts. So this is performing okay. I do find that it's making this area a little shiny, tiny bit emphasizing pores, nothing I'm gonna be like embarrassed about when I'm going about my day, but I just seem like I'm noticing my pores here a little more than usual. I do find it's getting a little cakey in a couple of areas, just kind of, I'm gonna zoom in really close here. It's doing some bunching and flaking that I don't love, but nothing that I'm worried about like going on the rest of my workday with or anything like that. I do really like the way that the highlighter sat on this. Some of the skin is looking really nice. I mean, there's nothing that is looking awful on it. It's not my favorite at this point, but I'm keeping an eye on the pore areas and a few areas of cakiness just to see if it keeps looking heavy. I mean, I don't feel oily or anything at all, which is great, but I'll be back to give you more of an update at the end of my day. Hey guys, it is 5 o'clock. This foundation has been on for, I guess that would make it about 9 hours now, and I have thoughts. It's not the worst foundation ever. It's also not doing the greatest either, so let me zoom you in and show you. So it looks like it's worn off a lot. It's not feeling like greasy or heavy or anything, but it just feels like it's mostly gone. It's doing a little bit of that thing where it's moved into my pores a little bit, like, sorry, this is gonna get super close. Like my pores still have foundation in them, even though it's wiped off everywhere else. And this pimple seems to be new, so I'm not super thrilled about that. Like I hope, you know, I get pimples, so I'm not saying it's due to the foundation, but not loving that that's appeared during the day today. So this is gonna be one of these ones. I've had other first impressions where, you know, this is not my favorite at the moment, but with the right primer, with the right powder, everything else, it could, let me zoom me out a little bit. It could be quite nice because I really, really liked the way that this looked when I first put it on. It was just very like skin-like. It just looked really nice on my skin. It just seems to have not hung in super well through the day. So testing will continue and I'll be back later to tell you my whole thoughts on this product once I've had a chance to play around with it a bit more. I have so many thoughts on this foundation and I'm so torn on it because there are some ways where it excels like crazy and some ways where I just can't get it to work. So let's talk about it. And let's talk about the pros and cons so you can decide if this is a product that may work for you. Everybody wants something different in foundations, so let's talk about this one. And let's first start by going through what it claims and what I found. And then I'll get into some extra thoughts from there. So it claims this to be a medium coverage foundation, and it is. I also do find this to be buildable in a really nice way. So it also says it's a concealer. I did find that you could build it up in places if I had an acne mark or more redness. I could build it up there and it would still look really good upon initial application, not cakey. I did not find this to be a good concealer for under the eyes. It just did some funny gathering. It almost became like a sandy texture. It could be that it just didn't play well with my like under eye moisturizer, but I just tried it once and it didn't work for that. Plus I tend to like a bit of a lighter under eye concealer. So in terms of it being a medium coverage, yes. In terms of it being a concealer, for anything other than the under eye, like any acne, yes, it builds up well for that. Not so great as an under eye concealer. It's not dual purpose in that method, in my opinion. It says it is good for all skin types, and I think I disagree. So it doesn't claim for this to be long lasting, but let me tell you, when I first put this on, it is gorgeous. It is the most flawless application. It looks like everything is smooth and perfect, and it hangs in there looking really, really nice for maybe 4 to 5 hours on my skin. By the time I get to the 8 to 9 hour mark, I have like combination skin. I don't find it to be oily with every product that I use. Some of them, like the Ordinary Serum Foundation, no problem with getting oily. Some of them I do get more oily. So I have sort of normal to combination type skin. But this, my face is shining by the end of the day. It's like I can feel the grease on my forehead and in my pores and in my T-zone, and just it's like shiny, 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 shiny. It's like glowing with oily shine. So is this good for oily skin? No. It's even kind of hard for combination skin because I used like mattifying primers, I used oil control primers, every one of them that I had to use, and nothing made this not oily and shiny by the end of the day. So it is not good for all skin types. It talks about this being a matte finish. I do not agree. When I first put this on, okay, it's matte, but it's not like matte. It's okay. But then like within an hour, this is looking more natural to satin to a little on the dewy side. And I think part of that plays into the fact that it gets oilier and oilier as the day goes on. I don't mind it. As I said, I think it is beautiful in the first like 4 hours that I'm wearing it for. Not super matte, but not dewy at that point, just looks really natural and nice, but it is not a matte foundation. It says it doesn't settle into fine lines and wrinkles. I didn't find that it creased or bunched up or did anything like that. It does not start to look cakey. It just looks shiny is what happens by the end of the day. I do find though, it's like my pores wants to eat foundation. Like if my foundation wears off, it will still stay in my pores and highlight my pores. This wasn't the worst offender for that, but it wasn't the best. What I did find is if I wore a good, I don't have a great setting spray right now. If I wore a setting spray so that everything held in for longer, it tended not to do that. If I didn't wear a setting spray, this would also start to wear off by about the 7 to 9 hour mark, and then it looked like the foundation was left in my pores but nowhere else. It also talks about this being a great on-the-go foundation, and I do find that. This is why I wanted it to work so well. I often say in my videos that I tend to try foundation with a brush, but I don't ever love foundation with a brush. It always looks better with a sponge for me, except for this. This was much better with a brush if I tried to do it, because it is that stiff formula. If I tried to do it with a dampened beauty blender, it came out patchy and really took away a lot of the coverage. But using this with my flat oval brush, it was like foundation, 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 blend, blend, blend. I was done. I didn't have to wet a beauty blender. I didn't have to spend time blending. It was like the fastest makeup application ever and looked gorgeous. Gorgeous when I first put it on. I want this to work so badly. I do find that it oxidizes a touch as the day goes along. When I first put it on, I look pale. And then by about 3 or 4 hours, I look much warmer. Not much, I look warmer. It doesn't do it to the point where it's like, whoa, my foundation is orange and doesn't match, but it does oxidize a touch. And it's that oiliness at the end of the day is what is throwing me off, because I love it for the speed of putting it on, for how beautiful it looks in the beginning. It just doesn't hang in there. And to be fair, they don't claim it to be long lasting, but I would love it if my foundation looked good for an 8-hour workday at a minimum. Heck, if you're looking at doing something for 4 or 5 hours, this is going to be awesome for you. It is quick, it is easy, it is beautiful coverage, it smooths everything out. It's not going to be long lasting. Am I going to keep using this? Yes, because in that 10 minutes I have to put on my makeup before I go to work in the morning, I want something fast and easy. If I have an important meeting at the end of the day, I might go out and buy myself some blotting papers to be able to take some of that grease off, or even, you know, some good powder to do a touch-up. But even like my Rimmel Stay Matte powder, all of that, it doesn't hold it till the end of the day. But if you repowder on top of it, it starts looking good again if you mattify it with some powder. So you can make it work. It's just not going to be long lasting without doing any touch-ups. So is this a buy? I'm so on the fence about it. I'm going to keep using it, and I don't do that for every foundation that I have, but this one is so convenient and looks so beautiful at first, I'm still going to keep reaching for it. I'm still looking for that perfect stick foundation for me. I would love recommendations from you guys about what maybe I should go out and try in the form of stick foundation next. But for now, that is where I'm going to leave this review. I hope it was helpful. I know this wasn't a this is awful or you need this in your life kind of review, but I think we're all looking for something different, so I'd rather give you those pros and cons, where it excels, where it doesn't. If you like this kind of review, please consider giving me a thumbs up. If you like this sort of pro and con idea, it would be really helpful for me. It lets me know that you like the video. Please leave me comments. Have you tried this? Which stick foundations do you love? What should I try? I respond to every comment that I get, and I love hearing from you guys. If you have not yet subscribed to my videos, come on, subscribe to my videos. You can click on my face right here to do it, or I'm sure there's a subscribe button underneath me here somewhere on whatever device you are watching me on. You can watch one of my old videos. I'll put one here, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Have a great day. Bye.